Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Trooper Jonathan Odom with the State Police, Troop G. In just a moment, I'm going to step aside, and Colonel Lamar Davis, Superintendent of State Police, is going to give some updates on the critical incident that occurred in Shreveport involving a Shreveport police officer on February 3rd.
Good afternoon. Colonel Lamar Davis, Superintendent of Louisiana State Police. By my side, from my right to left, is Lieutenant Colonel Kenny Van Buren, Bureau of Investigations, Deputy Superintendent, Captain Robert Loomis, Region 3, Bureau of Investigations Commander, Major Treon Lavadang, who is my command inspector of my Criminal Investigative Division, and to the end of my left is Lieutenant Colonel Chavez Cameron, my Assistant Superintendent and Chief of Staff. Before I begin, I really want to take this time to offer my prayers and condolences to the Bagley family and the entire Shreveport community. These incidents are never easy, they're tragic, and quite frankly, they break your heart when they occur. And while we may not be directly involved in the incident, it is something that we take seriously. It's something that affects all of us and quite frankly hits you in the heart. So it's important for me to be here today to speak with you and as well as our public safety partners so that we can ensure that everybody understands that we're going to conduct this investigation as accurately and as thoroughly as possible, okay? We're in the process of conducting this investigation. We're gathering the facts as we stand right now. And while we do not have all of the information, I did want to take and provide some information to the community and give you all an update. So please bear with us as I'm only able to discuss the facts of the case as it is today, as this investigation is ongoing. On Friday, February 3rd, the Shreveport Police Department requested LSP, Bureau of Investigations, Criminal Investigations Division, conduct an officer-involved shooting that occurred in the city of Shreveport. The preliminary investigation revealed that at approximately 10:51 p.m. on February 3rd, 2023, two Shreveport police officers responded to the Villa Norte apartment complex located in the 1600 block of Fullerton Street in reference to a domestic disturbance call. Upon their arrival, officers encountered 43-year-old Mr. Alonzo Bagley inside the apartment. Mr. Bagley accessed the balcony from the rear bedroom door and jumped to the ground. He then fled from officers. SPD officer Alexander Tyler was chasing Mr. Bagley on foot, and Officer Tyler located Mr. Bagley a short time later. Upon rounding a corner of the building, Officer Tyler observed Mr. Bagley and fired one shot from his service weapon, which struck Mr. Bagley in the chest. Both officers immediately began to render first aid. Mr. Bagley was transported to Ochsner LSU Health in Shreveport for treatment, but was later pronounced deceased. The incident scene was processed by the Louisiana State Police crime scene technicians, and evidence analysis remained ongoing. Detectives did not locate any weapons near or on the person of Mr. Bagley. Louisiana State Police detectives are still gathering evidence and interviewing those involved in the incident. I'm asking for the community to remain patient as we continue to conduct a very thorough investigation. While some may think that this is something that we can come and arrive to a conclusion immediately, I offer that it's incumbent upon us to conduct a very thorough investigation so that we have all the facts. Transparency in the investigation is a priority for our agency, and as we move forward in the investigation, we will work to review all of the evidence, determine further information to be released, including the body-worn camera and the in-car camera videos. As I conclude, I ask that anyone with information regarding this incident, please contact our agency, and I'm going to give you a couple of numbers and ways that you can communicate with us. First, call in our Fusion Center hotline, which is 1-800-434-8007, 1-800-434-8007. Second way is calling our LSP detectives 318-741-2728. Again, 318-741-2728. Visiting our lsp.org and completing our suspicious activity report or our criminal activity reporting form. And utilizing the See Something, Send Something app. Lastly, I want to again ask for your patience and understanding as we continue to gather the facts in relation to this investigation. I also ask that you keep Mr. Bagley's family and his friends in your prayers, as well as the entire Shreveport community. I will now take any questions you may have.
Any timeline on when that video and that dash video might be released? Because I know in cases like this, it usually makes the community feel a little more at ease to just see and if that transparency be put forth as soon as possible.
Well, ma'am, we are working in conjunction with other agencies to conduct this investigation, and quite frankly, it's important to us that we gather as much information and evidence and facts as possible before releasing it. So we do not have a hard date, but I will tell you, as soon as we can release it, we will release it.
Have you been able to identify any witnesses that were there at the scene and saw what happened, including Mr. Bagley's 15-year-old daughter?
So at this particular time, we're still trying to gather that information, so I can't say that I have that information, particularly because we are still speaking with witnesses. We hadn't conducted all of the interviews, and as such, we can't say who saw what.
Have you determined why the officer discharged this weapon when there was no weapon found, I would assume, on the person of Mr. Bagley or in the vicinity?
So the question was, can we determine whether or not, why the officer discharged this weapon, seeing as though there was no weapon found in the vicinity of Mr. Bagley? And to answer that, we still have to finish and conclude this investigation. I think it's premature for us to make that assumption without us conducting all of the interviews and reviewing all of the evidence.
Those are questions that are being asked right now in the community as you ask for patience in the community.
And I understand.
They would like to know why that happened. They feel that this might not have been the proper dischargeable weapon to bring Mr. Bagley's death about.
Yes, sir, and I understand the community's pain. And quite frankly, as I said before, we all feel this whenever this tragedy strikes in our communities. We're all a part of the community. And while I understand the community's concern, I want them to know that we're going to conduct a very thorough investigation. We're not going to do anything less than develop the facts so that when we present this case to the district attorney's office, it's a case that the district attorney can move forward.
Now, I know that you guys said you won't be releasing the video, but I know you possibly viewed it, and you could maybe tell us if there was any immediate threat in the moment of that domestic violence situation that may have led that officer to respond in the way he did, or is that still in preliminary phases as well? So
great question, in identifying any preliminary threat. However, again, in order for us to come to some type of conclusion in identifying preliminary threat, we have to, again, conduct interviews. We have to make sure we interview all of the witnesses, and right now we have not been able to do that.
What's the able to interview Officer Tyler yet?
Excuse me?
Have you been able to interview Officer Tyler?
No, sir. At this point, we have not interviewed Officer Toller just yet.
What's the soonest you think you'll be able to release some information, more information about this, or finish your investigation to the satisfaction of your investigators and those of SPD?
Well, in all of our cases, we follow the facts. So when we're talking about releasing the evidence or releasing additional information, oftentimes that is dependent upon what information we receive, what facts we discover, and so forth. So we will try to release information that we think is pertinent to the community, that we think is pertinent to the case, but it's based upon the facts and information we receive. So I can't offer a specific time frame, but I can tell you that as we continue to investigate this, if there is a point where we can offer something that's substantial to the community, we will do so. Yes, ma'am.
Will the family be able to see that video when it's released?
The question was, will the family be able to see the video upon release? Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So one more question and I'll close.
Is there any truth that the victim was intoxicated at the time and acting erratically?
So in determining the victim's level of intoxication, if any, that is not something that I can determine. That's going to have to be processed by whether it be the coroner's office or those that look into those particular matters. And of course, we will retrieve any and all evidence and information that's being provided, but at this particular time, I do not have the information on that. So again, I thank you all for coming out. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for really helping us to get the message out. But again, I ask that you all keep Mr. Bagley's family and friends and everybody impacted by this tragic incident in your prayers, okay? Thank you.
We'll be releasing an updated press release right after this also.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
All right, you guys, so you just heard those details right there from the Louisiana State Police, and that was from Colonel Lamar A. Davis that he provided those updates there. He announced his team alongside him that is helping him conduct this investigation, and he did take some questions afterwards. Now, he started off just by saying that he's talking about only the facts and the facts that they've collected so far. Their investigation is still ongoing, so not many questions he was able to answer there, but he definitely did do his best. Just by starting off, he really did want to open the floor by sending his condolences to the Bagley family and to anyone impacted in the community. Moving from there, as he spoke to the facts and only the facts that they have collected so far as they continue their investigation, they say that SPD asked Louisiana State Police to conduct an investigation. They were called out to the scene to the shooting that took place, he said, around 10:30 p.m. in Friday evening. That was February 3rd, and they responded at the Villa Norte apartment complex, and they responded there. As they arrived there, he went into detail now on what kind of led up into that fatal shooting. He said Mr. Bagley jumped off the balcony. Officer Alexander Tyler, was chasing him on foot, and they were kind of around the corner of a building that's when Tyler fired one shot that hit Mr. Bagley in the chest. From there, Tyler and I believe another officer immediately responded and provided aid. And then from there, Mr. Bagley was taken to the LSU Ochsner Hospital, but he was later pronounced deceased. So from there, he kind of spoke to the community directly and asked for patience as they are trying to continue their investigation, ensure that they are interviewing all the witnesses and everyone involved. He reiterated multiple times that they are trying to conduct a thorough investigation and make sure that transparency is there with them and the community, and that everyone is listening to all the details that they're providing when they're able to become available. So right now it was just the facts. He also mentioned that individuals in the community who maybe have any information that can assist with their investigation, you can call their hotline at 1-800-434-8007. And that is their hotline that you can call. He also mentioned the lsp.org suspicion activity report. You can submit a report there as well if you have any information that can assist with this officer involved shooting that happened in Shreveport, Louisiana. And then in regards to video and dash cam footage, this is in the moment where questions were being taken. He said that, at this time, no video is going to be released. That is a part of their investigation that is still ongoing, and there is not a timeline on when that is going to be released. As he mentioned that they're trying to complete a thorough investigation, and that is a part of it, and one that is ready to be released that will be provided to the family, as well as made for public record as well, allowed to be viewed by the public, and will be released. And you can stay up to date on that here at ktalnews.com. Also download the KTAL News Now app, and you won't miss a beat by downloading that and requesting push notifications. We will keep you updated on this as all the details come out. And then as we move forward, they are still speaking to witnesses. He says that they haven't spoken to everyone, so they're still kind of going through that list of witnesses and everyone involved. They still have not spoken to Officer Tyler, so they still need to kind of conduct their a more thorough investigation with him, go through the video and everything there. But he also was just continuously providing condolences to the Bagley family as, he was answering these questions, and knows that it's still a little vague at this point, and the details, more details still need to come to, paint this entire picture of what really happened and create that full transparency with the community. But he says, that Mr. Davis said that, they're doing their best here. Colonel Davis, I want to quote him a little bit here right now. He said, we all feel this when something like this happens. So he reiterated that he understands that this is limited information, but he understands what the community is going through, that he feels this just as much as the community is hurting and feeling this impact here with this loss of life in the officer involved shooting. And then, as we mentioned earlier, Officer Tyler has been put on administrative leave since this all happened. So that is an update from just a few hours ago. And so then there was also another question, and this was kind of towards the end. There was a question about if there was truth to Mr. Bagley being intoxicated at the time of this incident and when this all happened. And Mr. Davis responded by, that he isn't able to determine that specifically right now. That is also going to be a part of the investigation as they continue to go through the details and the facts are released. And then he just ended by, asking the community to really keep everyone involved in this situation in your prayers. That is pretty much the wrap up and details that were provided so far. Mr. Bagley jumped off the balcony and then was chased by Officer Tyler on foot. Moments later, that is when Mr. Bagley was shot by Tyler. One shot to the chest. He provided medical aid at that moment. Mr. Bagley was taken to the hospital and then later that evening pronounced deceased. So those are the updated details right there, and you can stay up to date on our website. You can stay up to date right here on ktalnews.com for all the details. Again, you can download the KTAL News Now app for push notifications so you don't miss a beat. Thank you all for joining us here for this update. We appreciate it. Hope you all have a safe and great rest of your day.